Welcome to the Mukilteo Football Show. My name is Miles. The San Francisco 49ers blow out the New York Jets 32-19 in the season debut of Monday Night Football. Most memorably about this game is the Jordan Mason game. Masonic Monday. I was looking up things about just trying to find a good pun. You know, a lot of my preparation for the podcast involves in finding a good pun to title the episode with. And Masonic. Yeah, it's a Masonic Monday. I'm pretty proud of that one. Just as proud as Unlikely Toe from the Thursday episode. You know, this is why we do it. You know, this is the passion project that I have chosen. The rest of it's just filler. No, obviously the most memorable aspect will be fantasy football managers and their pain and their anger today as we found out about a couple hours before kickoff that the super duper all pro star number one pick in all fantasy football drafts running back Christian McCaffrey unexpectedly ruled out with a calf/Achilles after he had said he was probably going to play. The 49ers had said that we're just holding him out on as a precaution. He would play if there was a game today. But it's all bunk. And you know, I had a whole thing in here about how Kyle Shanahan is a liar. Has one of the head coaches who's just chosen to make being a liar a big part of his life. For some stupid, slight competitive advantages, he has become a liar. Is the competitive advantage really that much more than the impact, the toxins within your soul of being a liar? Why can't you be like Pete Carroll? Just tell the truth, man. Just tell. If you don't know, you don't know. That's still okay. But Kyle Shanhans isn't a liar. And I had this whole thing about how he is a liar, but maybe this was true. Adam Schefter, who of course is a shill for the teams, but he came out there and said like, yeah, they're just being precautionary with Christian McCaffrey, especially considering McCaffrey's, previous seasons in Carolina where he pushed it and got hurt more. I can see that. I was willing to buy in on all of that. This is a 17-game season. You don't need Christian McCaffrey every single game. The important thing is winning the Super Bowl. Don't push it. Achilles stuff is nothing to mess around with running backs. I was willing to buy all that. Then they interviewed Jordan Mason right after the game. I wasn't even going to watch the interview, but I just wanted to hear the guy. You know, big moment for the guy. And we'll talk about him in a little bit more. Lisa Salters asked him, when did you find out you were starting? He said Friday. So from Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and through all Monday morning and Monday afternoon, the 49ers and the Adam Schefters of the world were just lying. Jordan Mason knew he was starting since Friday night. Bum, bum, bum. I can't think of a worse week one bad beat for fantasy football. I mean, yes, David Johnson got hurt as the number one overall pick in like 2018. That was brutal. There's been a lot of week one injuries that are brutal, which are probably worse bad beats in the long run. But specifically to week one, to have your first overall pick get ruled out on Monday night when you can do nothing about it. You can't pick up Jordan Mason in a competitive league. He's obviously rostered. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. Kyle Shanahan, change your life. You're a liar. You don't have to be. You don't have to be. You're going to the Super Bowl whether the Jets knew Christian McCaffrey was out or not, dude. All right, taking too long on this. We should be talking about Jordan Mason because this is a special day for that guy. He ran hard. He ran like it was his one shot, his one moment. In the primetime lights, 28 carries, 147 yards, and a touchdown. He also had a catch for 5 yards, so he broke the 150 total yards mark. Him and Debo just hitting hard. They wore down that Jets defense. A great defense. They were just out there on the field too long. Getting worn down by Mason, worn down by Debo. Purdy made the plays he needed to make. It was the story of the game. 49ers just going and going and going down the field. Meanwhile, the Jets, not exactly pretty. You know, I wouldn't be in a panic if I was a Jets fan. I mean, you're on the road against a healthy 49ers, the defending NFC championships, with a 40-year-old quarterback who just needed to get through a game to exist in the NFL again. And you're getting thumped. Breece Hall's just getting thumped by Fred Warner early on. Like, those first 4 plays, first 4 times Breece Hall touched the ball, he got absolutely rocked by Fred Warner, including a lost fumble. I don't know what lesson Fred Warner was trying to teach Breece Hall. Maybe the lesson was, you shouldn't exist. I don't know, but it was brutal. And yeah, it was kind of like that night for the Jets offense. They couldn't stay on the field. They couldn't sustain a drive. I guess they had one drive where Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall both looked good. And they also had one of those patented Aaron Rodgers free play touchdowns. Nice to see those again. I was going to try to figure out like the stats on that, and Joe Buck just pulled it out. He must have had this too. 18 times Aaron Rodgers has taken one of those free play defensive offsides touchdowns. I wonder what the stat is for the rest of the NFL. And it has to be less than 18. It seems like Aaron Rodgers is the absolute best at that, at a few things, but at that, it is indisputable. But Jets offense gone for long stretches. I'm not worried about them. Get back up, go thump the Titans, go beat the Patriots. You got an easy schedule after this. Rodgers looked nervous, looked like he was choppy steps, just like it can't have helped that Leonard Floyd was in this game. The guy who hurt him in week 1 against Buffalo is now a 49er, and he's just constantly coming around the edge. It can't have helped. So, as long as everyone stays healthy, the Jets and 49ers will be talking about them plenty throughout the season. Mukilteo Football Show. The show is football, everything, NFL history, legacy, ups and downs of the season. We got shows Monday, Thursday, and Sunday after the prime time game. Subscribe on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. All right. Week 1 is in the books. 2024 NFL season is underway. It's a good ride. It's a long ride. The 4th year of the Mukilteo Football Show. I'm excited to do it. We'll have these Sunday and Monday, 20-minute shows. Then we'll have the Thursday shows with Kirk, where we'll make some predictions as well as review the primetime games. I think just the core of the show is reacting to the immediate primetime games. And then I try to kind of circle in some of the biggest stories of the week, within our previews and within our reviews. So today, kind of circling back to a little bit more on week 1, we talked Caleb Williams yesterday. We talked Dolphins and Tyreek Hill yesterday, and we also touched on a few other things. Of course, the great Sunday night game between the Rams and the Lions. That was the core of the episode yesterday. But a good week 1. I was kind of bummed the Jets 49ers game didn't turn out to be, a really great game, because we had, we almost had the triple crown of primetime games. A good Thursday game between the Chiefs and Ravens, a good Sunday game between the Rams and Lions, and today would have been, the triple crown. 6 great teams, 6 Super Bowl contending teams, but one of the games wasn't that competitive. You can't be too greedy. Though I will say one more greedy thing. Didn't get a shootout this week 1. There was no 45-42 game where the offenses were just absolutely on fire and we're freaking out about thinking like Tua and Herbert last year, and there's some other ones. We didn't even have, so I don't think Rodgers or Purdy went over 300 yards. Let me double check that real quick. Yeah, Purdy 231, Rodgers 167. Yeah, so neither one of them went over 300 yards. So we only had 2 quarterbacks go over the 300-yard mark. That was Tua and Stafford on Sunday night. So 30 out of 32 quarterbacks. So we didn't get our big shootout, but a lot of football left to play. I didn't talk about it yesterday's episode because the episode is titled Sunday Best, so I didn't want to go back to a weird Friday game on an episode titled Sunday Best. But now let's go back to the Friday game, the Packers, the Eagles, and talk about something I do unfortunately see happening every week one, which is one of our top 10 to 12 quarterbacks gets injured in week one. We got a dubious streak going on here. Dak Prescott in 2022, he broke his hand in Sunday Night Football. He ended up missing 6 games. And of course, last year, Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles in Monday Night Football as he debuted for the Jets. Friday, in a weird Brazil game, Jordan Love, during a Hail Mary, with 6 seconds to go, rolled up on by Jalen Carter, looked really, really bad. I was thinking ACL, I was thinking down for the season, but I'm a naturally pessimistic man. Was happy to see that it's like a sprained MCL. We don't know the exact timetables or grades, and I don't think anybody, really does right now how severe it is, but he's going to be back is the point. How he will play, we also don't necessarily know, but the NFL relies on quarterbacks. You know how I know everybody gets mad, not everybody. The old heads get mad that you're softening up the game, protecting these quarterbacks. They're little wussies now. It's like, dude, do you want to watch Malik Willis? Next week's Packers game is a no watch. That's why it doesn't matter how many good players the Packers have. No one cares now until Jordan Love is back. No one's going to watch. That's how important the quarterback is. This is why we don't want him to get hurt. But yeah, it was a bummer. I actually didn't see it. I watched the Eagles drain the clock to get that 2-possession situation, and the game was wrapped up. Win probability was done, and I turned it off, so I didn't even see it. I was so sick of Peacock. The no commercials thing is it feels like a twist in a story where you meet the devil at the crossroads, and you're like, what do you want? What do you want? I want no commercials. And they're like, okay, you'll have no commercials. Here it is. But between every commercial break, instead of a commercial break, you'll have Maria Taylor, Chris Sims, and Devin McCourty chewing on freaking cardboard. So boring, so stiff, so fake, flavorless ice cream. It is, those 3 are horrible. Then you add Jason Garrett, and amazingly, Jason Garrett is the best one. I don't know. Maybe Maria Taylor is the best one. I don't know. But the point is, it's a low bar. It's a bad group. This is what I'm upset about. Most people, after the first Friday football game, were upset about the field in Brazil. And it's the same as England. It's the same as Germany. These international soccer fields have slick, really fertile fields. And some people are saying unsafe. I just don't call it unsafe. It's slippery. It's bad football. It made for bad football because it's just slip and slide out there. I mean, it was a rainforest, right? Where they're playing used to be rainforest at some point because it's Brazil. But the unsafe to me comes from the MetLife type of turf, the old Astrodome turf, the stuff that's unnatural, that puts, your body in positions that we would never be subjected to in our evolution as a species. We haven't AstroTurf. We haven't evolved for that yet. I feel like the give way thing makes for bad football, not unsafe football. Just because Jordan Love got hurt doesn't mean you got to go on an unsafe crusade, wrap yourself in the cloak of righteousness or anything like that. The field is bad. Yeah, it's bad. And what's funny is the Eagles assistant GM was in charge of the field because they had complained so much about the Super Bowl field. I would give him an F- on that project, especially since he said the field was ready to go, and it wasn't. So that sucks. But You shouldn't have said it was ready to go. You should have said these international fields are designed for soccer, or we want the ball gliding across. We want that in soccer. In football, it's a lot of divots. It's a lot of earth coming up through with every play. All right, let's move on. And another grievance I have, I promise I do love football. Complaining about Kyle Shanahan being a liar, complaining about the Jordan Love injury. This one's more of a joke. How come the Falcons and Steelers are still boring? One of my just funniest things about week 1 is we had a Steelers-Falcons game. Two of the teams that were just kind of frustratingly boring last year and the last couple years. They have all these great weapons, Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Najee Harris, George Pickens, all these great weapons, and they just need quarterbacks to be functional teams. Steelers and Falcons, both in the same kind of boat there. And then we have a whole offseason where all this hype. Steelers are signing Russell Wilson. They're trading for Justin Fields. The Falcons are signing Kirk Cousins. They're drafting Michael Penix Jr., 8th overall. And yet, here we are in week 1. It's Cousins and Fields head-to-head. Steelers are kicking 6 field goals, and the Falcons can't move the ball at all. It's 18-10. Just saying. Why are they still boring? No, it was a great game for the Steelers. The Steelers played the game they should have. That defense looks great. TJ Watt should have had an all-timer game. That could have made up for the boring offenses if we had TJ Watt with at least one more of those huge fumbles. He should have had 2 huge fumble recoveries that were called back by penalties. One of them very questionably, a strip, sack, and fumble recovery that he just timed up so well it got called offsides. So funny. I think Fields probably should give it back up to Russell Wilson and give Russ a shot. That's my opinion. I mean, Justin Fields, if you wanted to say that you need a job, you should have scored 1 touchdown. And for Atlanta, Kirk Cousins looks like a statue. You have got to be worried. Remember what Kirk Cousins was before the 1.5 years with Kevin O'Connell? You're remembering now. And I wanted to lastly talk about the dynamic kickoffs, which I had made a comment on Thursday that I was saying, that it was hard for me to get my brain around it. I didn't really like it as the opening pictures and stuff like that. I did say I would get used to it. But you know what? I do like it. Not the name. The dynamic kickoff name. The first time I heard it, I thought, okay, this is like a 15-person work group. They do a corporate mindfulness exercise. They come up with the name. They play with the brand it with a sense of excitement. They're sending out a memo. I guarantee you that memo contained the phrases challenging perceptions and cultivating engagement. Name, not good. The play, pretty good. It's not often we talk about a new type of play in NFL history. I thought it was a success. And I based that on the morning window of Red Zone, where we had a few times where we're talking fun stuff about kickoffs. Cardinals DJ Dallas, he got the first touchdown of the dynamic kickoff era. He's this bulky running back, used to be a Seahawk. Now he's a Cardinal, he's running right up the gut. It was a cool play. It was a fun play to watch. The Bears had a 67-yarder. The Bills had a 53-yarder. Both of them they looked more like big plays in the regular, down and distance type of drive situation. They looked like they were being broken, and I thought it was good. And you know what? Maybe there is a sense of nostalgia, because when I was a kid and when I was growing up, kickoffs were a much bigger deal. They added, some spice, some jazz. They would just twist up a game every once in a while. So I'm in. Week 1, I'm already in. And for those of you doubting, I find your lack of faith disturbing. Rest in peace. Voice of Darth Vader, James Earl Jones. I can't even mimic his voice. That's how good his voice is. I find your lack of faith disturbing. I can't do it. You must avenge my death, Kimba. I mean, Simba. This is CNN. Okay, those are Simpsons references, but James Earl Jones did say those on The Simpsons, so, okay. We'll be back Thursday. We'll talk Bills, Dolphins in week 2. Bye.